This van is the ultimate surfing adventure vehicle. Let's talk about the pros and cons of the design decisions that they made while building this van.
My name is Kale. I'm a filmmaker and a surfer, and this is my 2014 long wheelbase high roof Mercedes Sprinter. Enjoy our van tour.
I really like those outdoor hammocks that they have. You don't often see this on vans, but it looks really cool. It's probably a little annoying to set up with those, having to pull those steel beams out, set up the hammocks on them. But then once you do have it set up, really nice seating area, really unique.
This is our main living area, kitchen, work area, and all the rest of it. We've got this beautiful big...
Space looks pretty standard, looks similar to what a lot of vans do with the white everywhere, with black knobs. I like the black sink, that looks cool. And also a lot of windows, a lot of natural light. If you're spending a lot of time in nature, not trying to be very stealthy, then the windows are great, add a lot, and really make the inside space feel larger and come alive.
Kitchen space, this is Tasmanian oak, which we've stained with like a nice sort of walnut stain. And then we've got a nice cooktop here, which we use super frequently, breakfast and dinner. And then something that was really important to us also was getting an oven. This was really important to us, and Emma took a really long time to actually find that because it was a really specific size. But it ends up being, I think it's the best oven I've ever had. Better than all the sort of house ovens that I've had in the past. I love this here. On this side here, we've got our fridge and fridge cabinet. This is a 140 litre Dometic fridge. To be honest, it hasn't been amazing. We've actually had a little bit of trouble with this one in terms of when it's really hot, it can struggle. So we're actually sort of working on that. But the aesthetics and the setup is really nice.
Okay, I have a theory as to why the fridge might not be working super well, especially in the heat. These fridges need to be ventilated properly. So let's say that the fridge is here. Air will come in from below the fridge, and then this is the front right here. Air comes in from the front below and then goes kind of up the back and then is taken in, cold air is created, and then hot air is released as a byproduct of that creation. And if you don't have anywhere for that hot air to go, then it's just kind of gonna sit right behind your fridge and then just get reabsorbed into the system. Your fridge is gonna have to work a lot harder because it's absorbing hot air and turning it into cold air. And that can cause the fridge to not work as well and be much less efficient. Not sure, but that might be a potential solution to the fridge not working super well.
Bench can act as like an extra workspace or kitchen space if we need it. We've got our very important little hat holders here. We've got our Akubra area, beneath which we've got this nice water filter. So this is just a good Zazen water filter.
Seems like an interesting use of space. I wonder if that's permanently there or if they just moved that there temporarily. Looks like it might be able to move, but I'm not fully sure. But if it doesn't move, if it's just mounted there, it seems very inefficient because you're taking up a lot of counter space right there that could be used for cooking or setting things down, preparing. You don't have a lot of counter space in the van, so you want to use every inch that you have. And the fact that this takes up so much of it is not great. So maybe there's another way to do this. Maybe that could be mounted to the wall or the ceiling. I don't know, somehow, some other idea to free up this counter space would be very helpful.
That pretty much just enables us to take the tap water that we fill with and then turn it into really nice, healthy drinking water. So a little bit further back, we've got our bathroom.
Let me make this point about the shower. So this fixed shower and then what looks to be a wardrobe behind where the knives are, it really cuts off the space in this van. As you're standing, you're looking around, it kind of divides up the van. It looks like there are 3 separate rooms. You kind of have a room of the bed in the back, then you have a room of the kitchen in the middle, and then you have a room of seating up front. And maybe the seating and the kitchen room are kind of combined here. Some people like to do this. Some people like to have the space compartmentalized by these different walls in a way. That's really what they are, is this becomes a hallway right here that he's standing in because of these tall cabinets, tall wardrobe, and then the shower, the full shower. Personally, I feel like since these spaces are so small already, it's nice to leave that as much space open as you can. So find a creative way to have a shower that doesn't extend the whole roof and take up this much space.
We've got our beautiful big sink. It's obviously black. I really like the color profile that this has along with the tap. Again, just a really appropriately sized sink. We get plenty of hot water out of this tap here, and it's not bad when you can actually check the surf and wash the dishes.
That's all. Check the surf, wash the dishes. Love that. One interesting thing to notice about the sink. First of all, I love it. I love the black. The black looks clean. And the sink, interesting part about this is the faucet you can see is slightly to the side. It's not exactly behind the sink as you see in a traditional home or even in a lot of vans. This is a cool space-saving idea to get a slightly larger sink in basically the same space.
Up here we've got 4 upper cabinets all on gas struts. This is where we store like all our dry foods, oils, long life food, whatever. Super handy to have these, especially on gas struts. And then they've got the little click in lock so they stay shut. We've got our drawers down here and these are all on the locks as well, so they'll stay shut.
There's a lot of colors, I don't know where to go. See a lot of colors, only feeling blue.
So this is like our couch living area, I guess, and dining / study, a little bit of everything. I really love how in our layout we managed to fit in the L bench because it means we can basically sit there with our legs up and have a look at the beautiful ocean while having a coffee or cup of tea or something. So I love that part.
One thing to consider with this L couch layout is that naturally when 2 people are sitting in this L couch, their legs are trying to go to kind of the same area. So if someone wants to stretch out, they're likely going to be hitting the other person's legs. And this is a little nitpicky because it's one of the things you have to do in van builds all the time is to make compromises similar to this.
Under here we've got our batteries, the whole solar setup. So yeah, that's basically all contained to that one area, which is really good and handy to just have it all in one spot and we can change the switches, whatever, whenever we need. This is a super handy storage box. Basically we've just got sheets and towels and a few wine bottles for special occasions. We've got
Okay, one interesting thing to consider there is that once again with ventilation, it looks like that electrical cabinet is not ventilated in any way. And not fully sure, it may just be hidden out of this shot somewhere. But if there's no fresh air getting into that cabinet easily, that's a problem because some of those electrical components, I think nearly all inverters need air input and output to cool themselves down, especially when you're investing thousands of dollars into nice Victron energy components as they have. You want them to last as long as possible. And you do that by taking good care of them, by ventilating the space properly. So that's something that's just very important to do.
the swivel table, so we can have it in the center here. We can raise it or lower it, and we can pretty much swivel it all the way around, so it's kind of like a little outdoor table as well. Up here we've
the Lagoon table mount is what really everyone uses. Looks very nice, like very sturdy. And I wish we did that in the Project Today van. We tried to make our own makeshift table mount with plumbing pipe, and it didn't exactly work. It worked, but wasn't perfect. The table was always slightly uneven. It was livable, but not perfect.
got the headliner shelf, so basically just have all the I guess daily essentials that we use and want easy access to, but also just want to be able to chuck them away out of sight.
Too many choices.
So since moving into the van, we have had to become super minimalistic. Obviously not much wardrobe space, but I think we have a lot more compared to other vans. We managed to have a wardrobe each. So this is mine. This is my favorite little thing about this wardrobe is I've got my own jewelry shelf. I think that's probably one of my favorite things.
That's a ton of wardrobe space. Yeah, a lot more than most vans have. Chase and I each fit all of our clothes into one small cabinet each. It's just funny, but we just didn't value having space for clothes as much as these people obviously do. Vans are custom. You can change to whatever you prefer and value the most.
This is our little bed area, which is super cozy. We've got 2 little cabinets either side of the TV. This is a smart TV as well, all 12 volt of course, so that's pretty cool. Love our little window, which we enjoy waking up to and being able to see the ocean out of in the morning. Over this side we have some little reading lamps, and these are on wires, so you can kind of just flex them into any spot you want. They've got 2 levels, which is pretty good. And
I wonder what that shelf up above is for. See that shelf? Seems kind of an interesting storage though. Not really sure.
of course the USB charging point, super handy for phones. We made these little indents here either, so we've got this one where we blocked the window off, and that one obviously the window's open, but that of course allows you to stretch out that little bit more. It's probably just about the limit of Kale's height, so you can't really be any taller than Kale unless you have to sleep on an angle.
Some of the other cargo vans are slightly wider, like the ProMaster is a few inches wider than the Sprinter, so for taller people there's a better chance that they're able to sleep sideways comfortably.
So this is our garage area. I call it the garage. A lot of people laugh at me when I call it the garage, but Garage, standard name for this area, at least in the van life community, but I'm sure I can see how other people would find it funny. That's what it is. This is arguably the most important area of the entire van. This is where the surfboards live. This actually goes all the way to the bottom half of my cupboard. So I was pretty happy to sacrifice the lower half of my cupboard so that my surfboards could fit. The longest board is a 6.0, so 6 foot deep.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it just goes to show, again, that these vans are extremely custom to the people who built them, the people who use them. So these people really value surfing and being outdoors. And so they wanted a place to store their nice surfboards inside the van so that they wouldn't have to be outside the van and could potentially be stolen or something. And so they built around that idea, and that caused some downstream effects potentially of having this taller cabinet in the interior for storage space, whereas they could have the surfboards going underneath. Makes a little bit more sense now, some of the earlier decisions for why there might be a tall wardrobe.
A couple of little sports goods here in this middle section. This is where we keep the sort of wet stuff. So we've got like snorkel masks, mostly wetsuits and stuff. But you know, we can put in towels and stuff that are sort of semi-dry and all that.
Okay, that's an important point to consider. I never thought of this when building a van, and it's something that I really learned in those first few months of living in the van. Come up with a place in your van where you're gonna put wet items. All the time, Chase and I would come in from the beach and have wet towels, wet bathing suits or something, and we didn't really have a good place to put them. So usually we'd end up throwing them in our kitchen sink. Ideally, these people, I mean, they have a few different places. They have this area, obviously, or they can come in and hang things in their large shower, and that can act as a wet room so that they can have everything dry in there. Just something you don't really think about, but that is important to consider if you are building a van.
This area here is just a really nice storage area. We could obviously keep our hose that we fill the water tank with, and a bunch of other stuff like winter clothes. Now it's summer obviously, and then vice versa when we need to. Up here, some more sporting goods. Got the Smooth Star, a little toolbox, foam roller, hammock chairs live in here as well, and just a couple little odds and ends. Now under the car, this is interesting. Under the car here we've got
Before we get to under the car, it's so nice to have that garage. I think that's such a great use of space for storage for large items. And you get that by having a fixed bed, which is one of the reasons why I think fixed bed is superior and great to have.
a 160 litre water tank. We actually replaced the area in which the spare tyre was hanging, and we shifted that onto the roof rack instead. So that's been really cool. Obviously that runs a really nice hot water system. We can get pretty much instant hot water to the shower itself, but then we can also get just cool water back here at the back of the van. We can just hook up, and I can come in from a surf, or on a really hot day when you don't feel like having a hot shower, you can just have a cold shower outside, which is really handy.
For their lifestyle, I think this makes a lot of sense. They're coming from the beach with sand and stuff. It's super nice just to be able to wash off that sand outside their van rather than tracking a bunch of sand into the van, even on their way to the shower to wash off the sand. So nice to have this little outdoor area for how much time they're spending outside and how active they are.
So this is our front runner roof rack system. I love the fact that you can just chuck in like a hex bolt into the system, drag it along and then tighten it off, and you've pretty much got an instant rack system like this with the surfboards, for instance. I can move this eyelet along the rack as I need to, and it's been pretty incredible. I've really liked it. This is where the spare...
That's great, super customizable. You can use this for a lot of purposes. I'm also shocked they have more surfboards up here. They must have 5 or 6 surfboards total in this van. Dedicated surfers.
Tire lives up here now. We've obviously got the spare gas bottle as well, solar panels on the front. We've even got a nice stainless steel table that's slid underneath the roof rack, which we can plonk between the 2 hammock chairs to have a nice dinner or whatever we choose. But this is also a really nice vantage point to check the surf, which is pretty important.
That was a pretty well designed van. I think had a lot of good things for it. But now you've heard me talk about this van. I would love to hear what you think about this van. What did you like? What did you not like? What would you change about the design if you were to build a van similar to this? With that, I'll see you next Wednesday.